to bring live that incredible attention to detail design style of the 1960s. That's why we call it the 64.
How's it going, everyone? Michael Joyce here, founder at EMOTO. Today I have the privilege to be with
Ben Taylor, co-founder of Beachman.
And yeah, right here we're sitting with the Beachman 64, which is now coming to America. For those of you that aren't familiar with Beachman, it's manufactured in Canada. And we're fortunate to be set up as one of the first dealers here in the US, specifically here at our flagship store in Tampa, Florida. So Ben and I had a chance to meet Micromobility America in November this past year, and have had the chance to develop a relationship following that. And so yeah, I mean, we're excited to get set up, but I think today we want to walk you guys through sort of the Beachman story and what this is all about. And then once we talk through sort of the specs here, I'm going to go ahead and do a ride review following that to give you guys an idea of display, controls, acceleration, ride feel, all of that. We'll end on that note. But without further ado, Ben can go ahead and get into sort of the founding story of, which I think is extremely interesting, of Beachman and how this all came about.
We started Beachman officially in 2021, but it's a project that I've been working on for closing in on 10 years now. So we started as a brand, focused on that classic 1960s coastal lifestyle, surfing, riding motorcycles, customizing your stuff, and we kind of went from there. So Beachman is a project that I've been working on for almost 10 years now. It was kind of dreamed up when I was living in the west coast of Canada in Vancouver. And I was a broke kid just out of college. I was working as a video guy for restaurants and stuff like that. And so all I could afford at the time was a crappy little moped. And I bought this thing and it was broken. And I think I sat for like a year in my house until I finally got it working with the help of my housemate's brother. And that first day when we got that bike running, all my friends came to my place and we just started riding it up and down the street in front of my house and just laughing, like no helmet, just the wind in your hair and just like cruising up and down this stupid sense of freedom. And I loved it. I was hooked immediately. And I started immediately dreaming up this idea of, some kind of little cool vintage style cafe racer bike that, would be the ultimate way to get around town for a broke kid like me. And I sat on that idea for 5 years and worked away on it, came up with different designs, but I really didn't have the expertise or the mechanical background to know my way around actually building this platform. And so what happened was this chance meeting where I moved back to Toronto, and my oldest friend from kindergarten ended up being the barista at the end of my street. And one day he sends me a text and just says, "Hey Ben, there's this guy named Steve. He lives like 100 feet away from you, and he's building cafe racers in his backyard. You should probably tell him this Beachman thing that you've been working on. I got his phone number, text him." So I shoot him a text and we meet in this coffee shop the next day, and we sit down and I have this little pitch deck that I present to him of Beachman bikes and all this little stuff. And I think I get 5 minutes into the presentation and he just goes "Oh, all right, I'll build one." And that's kind of it, We are like, okay, we shake hands and we walk back to his house, and 20 minutes into us meeting, we're starting to dream up the company and looking at different bike frames. And he had, I think, 3 different motorcycles that were on different stages of completion. And we picked out this Kawasaki, and Steve kind of started dreaming up, I think I could put an electric drivetrain in this, because up until then, my project was gas. And he convinced me that people who love cafe racers would still be cool with an electric bike, where I was kind of worried they'd be, gas motorheads. And thankfully Steve was right. And so he built this electric bike over the next kind of year and a half of refining and tinkering. And in 2020, middle of COVID, I remember that first day I rode it home in the freezing cold up in Toronto, where we're from. And man, it was just perfect. And yeah, so we just kept going from there. We started the business, actually, Steve funded the whole thing on his personal home line of credit. We were all in from day one. And thankfully, the bike was great. It looked great, it rides great, and people started buying them. And so we, made some more and sold some more. And now we're here where we've got an 8,000 square foot factory in Toronto, and we go in and work every day and build bikes and ship them right across North America. And Yeah, it's been an amazing experience, and we're really stoked to have Mike and EMOTO here, you know, become our flagship store in Florida. And yeah, I can't wait to start seeing them all around the streets of Tampa and Miami and everything. So.
Yeah, that's the plan. Well, yeah, again, ironically, for those of you who don't know the story of why I got into the business, I'm not a motorcycle guy at all, but I stumbled upon Maving, which is a similar sort of cafe racer style, but I'm not, you know, a full motorcycle guy. I came from golf cart business and wanted something to get around. You know, I had a very short commute to work, so I live a little ways from here and have been actually using this Beachman for the last probably month and a half to commute from, you know, home to work on a daily basis, and it's been extremely enjoyable. So this is my personal demo here at the shop. So we have, this is the 64, the moped version.
Moped spec, yeah. So the way this bike comes is either in a moped spec where there's no pedals, you're gonna plate it and license it. It'll have the top speed of 45 miles an hour. Or you can get it as just an e-bike. So it'll have pedals, it'll come limited to 20 miles an hour, it'll be that class 2, and that allows people to really get into riding early. And then later, if you want to and you're ready to speed up, you can go plate it as a moped, change that speed, and then really enjoy it the way Mike's been doing.
With the moped version, do you want to go to the range side of all of these?
Yeah. So the default battery that this bike comes with, it's going to offer you a 55-mile range. That's at the e-bike setting. Once you bump it up to moped, you're looking at around, I mean, it also depends on how hard and how fast you're riding it, anywhere from 30 to 55 miles you'll be getting. We sell an upgraded battery now, 50 amp hour, so that'll take you to about, you know, 40 to 70 miles of range. And then in the summer we have an even larger battery upgrade coming. But the great thing about it is, you know, it's not designed to go on the freeway and stuff, right? This is kind of like a Vespa, but a lot cooler. It's for using in your hometown. It's for, you know, enjoying, like going to the coffee shop, visiting your buddies. And for that purpose, there's more than enough range. The nice thing too is the charger is super compact too, so you can just pop it in your saddlebag. So if you wanted to use that whole range, yeah,
it's in saddlebag. Right?
Perfect. Yeah, it's in there. You can ride it, go to your buddy's house and plug it in. The battery's removable too, so in that kind of emergency charging situation, you do that. But honestly, the average person who owns a Beachman, they're charging it like once a week, and that's kind of the typical experience. And yeah, it's dialed in for that exact kind of use case. So I'll also talk a bit about, you know, the design philosophy. So the reason the bike looks like this is we wanted to revive that incredible attention to detail design style of the 1960s. This is why we called it the 64. It's the year the Mustang came out, and we always wanted to make a bike that looks in the way that it should be, where a Ford brought back that Mustang from 1964 today with a beautiful modern technology in the inside, you know, Apple CarPlay and air conditioning, but in this old school style. You know, we wanted to do that in the form of a bike, and I think we kind of knocked it out of the park. And the way it's designed, it also allows you to do a lot by changing very little. So, you know, the whole bike is black except for the seat and the tank, which really allows you to change the entire look with just those two parts. And I can see Michael's also got stuff like, you know, our custom brown grips to match the seat, the bar end mirrors to just add a bit more of that cafe racer flair, and of course the saddlebags, which are by far the best seller. They're just make so much sense for this bike. And yeah, it looks fantastic. But there is also a wealth of upgrades. If you go and check out the EMOTO site or the Beachman site, you can see all the different stuff we offer, because we really encourage people to really trick out their bike and make it their own, but still preserve that, you know, 60s style. So.
Yeah, I mean, ride-wise, you know, this, like, we have some land sitting behind us. There's definitely a very different feel to the Beachman versus, you know, something like a Land or a Rivet, if you're familiar with the light electric motorcycle space. But this is your ultimate cruiser. So does 45 miles an hour max, but, you know, very smooth. It can be an entry-level ride. Like a person that's never ridden a motorcycle before, you can get on this, feel completely comfortable in riding it. I mean, one of the things to kind of point out here as well, I love the design philosophy that you guys started with, is like, there was no reinventing a motorcycle here as well. So this is built on an actual, you know, Honda CB frame. Like, that's correct. So,
yeah, it's a 1970s Honda CB frame. It allows us to, you know, use a lot of standard parts that are like as time tested as it comes, you know. It really is the AK-47 of motorcycles. It's proven and loved around the world, and that allowed us to start, from a really great solid foundation and then build into this, kind of new electric style.
Well, and also on the service side of things, a lot of these parts are pretty generic, off the shelf. So, easy to replace, easy to work through. For those of you that are looking to buy around the country as well, I think it's interesting to point out, like, Beachman has a service network. Like, we're going to be a premier dealer here in Florida. We can take care of your service and your warranty, but outside of that, Beachman actually coordinates with any consumer that's having an issue with the local service shop that they set up, and ensure that you're going to still be on the road. Yeah,
we're pretty much obsessed with customer service. So we've got an actual group of human beings in our office in Toronto. So when you have a problem and you call us, pretty much immediately we're going to get on the phone with every single repair shop, mechanic, e-bike place within 100 miles of where you are, and we will not stop until we found someone who's going to take care of your bike. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. I've definitely been fortunate to get set up over the past couple months. Ben and I became friends. I mean, the product's great, design's great. It just makes a lot of sense. The price point makes a lot of sense. $4,800 base, under $5,000 to start. And then, like he said, you can basically swap out the color of the tank. There's about 6 different colors. You guys use Porsche colorways mainly,
mostly Porsche color, yeah. Not exactly, but definitely inspired by like the old PTS colors in the 60s.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was great, giving you guys a little bit of overview. I think for me, that was definitely a cool piece to hear, is the whole founding story of Beachman and kind of where they are now. And again, I'm a big fan of the product. We're gonna roll this out here. First pre-order is gonna land here probably early February. We've already started pre-selling, and yeah, we're here for support and sales across the state of Florida if anyone wants to come to Tampa or look at that. So without further ado, we'll jump in. I'm going to do a full ride review so you guys can see controls, display, sort of the acceleration, feel, all of that. But I think that really does a good job.
Right? Awesome, man. Yeah,
for sure. So here we are. We're going to do a quick ride review on this beautiful Beachman 64. We're here at our flagship in Water Street here in downtown Tampa. It's a little chilly and windy today. It feels like we're in Toronto where this is made. But start out here, this is the set of keys that your Beachman 64 will come with. I'm also wearing the Beachman rider gloves that you can purchase with your bike, and this is actually their key tag as well, engraved. So it comes with 3 keys. This is basically an anti-theft system, similar to some of the other e-bike brands. You can lock it or unlock it, and if someone starts to move it, it'll go off and start doing an alarm. You have your main key here, and then you have this other smaller key, which is to unlock the battery box here, so you can remove the battery, take it out. You can see we got the saddlebags here as well. So insert the key here. First spin will basically get rid of the locking system. So if you turn it like that, it's the anti-step steering lock. Turn that twice, have power on. For controls, you have bright light switch over here, turn signals on the left hand side, and then horn, the bottom button on both sides. Here we have the kill switch, and then this is no lights. This is a halo running light that looks like this, and then all the way up is your running lights. I have, again, the upgraded mirrors on here, and these are upgraded grips to give you guys an idea. But yeah, let's go ahead and go for a ride. Last thing on the display, one thing with Beachman you'll see when I'm riding, this will be fluctuating the voltage and the battery. So whenever you are cruising, like a cruising speed, not accelerating, you want to pay attention to the voltage. This is a scale between 64, which that's going to be completely out of battery, and 84 volts. So we're almost fully charged right now, but you'll see that fluctuating a little bit. Ben recommends that around 70 volts you go ahead and head home wherever you're at. And then just as a note, the 64 model is in kilometers an hour. The new displays on the Aviators coming out later in the year will be in miles per hour. All right, let's get to it. So pull out here,
do some acceleration and take off. Give you guys an idea. I mean, this is a cruiser bike, so if you're trying to compare it to, say, a Land or a Rivet light electric motorcycle, it's not going to be as torquey or as, you know, instant power as one of the, you know, light electric motorcycles, but also understanding this is registered as a moped, so it doesn't require motorcycle license, which is a big thing for, you know, some consumers. We're here in downtown Tampa. We're going to go over to Harbor Island here, just do a little cruise, try to get up to, you know, top speed, which on this Beachman is around 45 miles an hour. Again, the screen's in kilometers an hour, so we'll probably get up to hopefully 70, 75 kilometers an hour, which is around 45 miles an hour. Suspension and feel definitely has some play. Again, it's built on a Honda CB125 frame, so this thing is very tried and tested, which I think is a nice thing for consumers out there. You know, it's some apprehension of maybe not pulling the trigger if you're gonna ship it to your house. I mean, that it's very solid, a little different than some of the other brands in the market, like you know, Super 73 Onyx and some of those other things. This is built on a platform that's been tried and true for a very long time. Even all the controls here are, you know, motorcycle controls brought over into an electric drivetrain. So we'll get going here in just a second. Brakes are very tight. You can get stopped quite quickly. It doesn't have anything like ABS, just due to not going highway speeds higher. So obviously, if there's some wet conditions, just be careful whenever you're braking, not to lock up either tire. So let's get going here. It's Gasparilla weekend this weekend here in Tampa. For those of you that aren't local, it's basically one of the largest parades in the country, you know, pirate festival. It's a little bit busy out here to people riding around. So here we are getting up to 65. So right around here is like top speed. It is smooth though. If you're looking for your street legal commuter bike to get around, this is definitely got to be top 3 on the market, that's for sure. My personal favorite by far. Again, those brakes are, I mean, it will stop on a dime if needed. It's completely silent with the hub motor. I leave the running light on usually when I'm riding around, so at least if someone can't hear you coming, they hopefully see you coming. Handling is so smooth. Again, this is a sliding scale here. As you can see, the battery power fluctuates when you're accelerating, but once you're up to a stabilized speed, whatever that voltage is at is what your current voltage is. Again, range-wise, if you're consistently hitting 40, 45 miles an hour and topping out on the speed, you're probably gonna get around, say, 30 miles of range. If you're just doing city cruising and casually getting around at 25, 30, you're probably closer to 45, 50 miles of range. Got a little opening here. Let's open it up. There's a usual sight here in downtown. What a beautiful day. Thank you guys for hitching along for our review today and ride review. Glad we got a chance for Ben to give the whole background and story. I think that's a big piece, was buying into the brand. He's a great guy. Steve's a great guy. And they've got a phenomenal product here. If you guys are interested in a Beachman 64, we obviously have them available at EMOTO here in our showroom. You can come do a demo ride with me or one of our staff people. And feel free to check out any info online at rideemoto.com. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much.